Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. Download the Game Time app. You know the drill. Takes 2 minutes. And you put in the code Colin, C-O-L-I-N. That will get you $20 off your first purchase. Basically, with the Game Time app, you get tickets faster and less expensive than anybody else out there. Prices on the Game Time app actually don't go down. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to the first pitch. And baseball is one of those sports, maybe not playoff games, but usually you don't know you're going to a game 2 weeks in advance. A lot of times, big stadium, a lot of games, you make it up that day or that afternoon. Take the guesswork out of buying major league tickets with a Game Time app. Download the app. Code is Colin, $20 off. Terms apply. Game Time. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So one of the things that I'm hoping for is this draft. This past draft looks like the 2020 draft, when you have Jordan Love and Herbert and Burrow and Tua and Jalen Hurts. And all of a sudden we have like 5 quarterbacks who eventually all get that second big contract. The league's better when the quality of quarterback is better. That's indisputable. And we've had some good quarterback years, you know, the legendary Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, John Elway years and years ago. But we recently, 2020, had 5 guys, 4 in the first round hit. The Drake Maye situation reminds me a lot of Sam Darnold, and this is why I think he's going to struggle. So I like Sam Darnold a lot out of college, and I like Drake Maye. I think his comp is accurate. But I want you to think about this. Both come out, Sam Darnold and Drake Maye of the Patriots, as the number 3 pick. Both are from athletic families. Both played in weaker college conferences at the time they came out, the ACC now and Darnold's Pac-12 then. They had remedial college coaching offensively. Sam Darnold did not have a Lincoln Riley at the whiteboard, like a Kyler Murray or a Baker Mayfield or a Jalen Hurts, where they come in kind of ready to play and have been well-schooled. This is not a knock on Mac Brown, but the feeling was it was a pretty simplistic offense for Drake Maye. Both Drake Maye and Sam Darnold are very, very young, younger than you'd like. They both come into the league at 21. And to give you some sense of how young that is, Kenny Pickett is already 26 years old. Sam Darnold just turned 27 a month and a half ago, right? A couple months ago. So Drake Maye, Sam Darnold come in very, very young. They're both big enough, 6'3" or up, both athletic enough. They both move well. Arms are strong enough. But then they both go to the NFL. Sam Darnold and Drake Maye inherit first-time defensive coaches, Todd Bowles and Gerard Mayo, shaky O-lines, no current, when they enter it, no current cultural or winning momentum in the franchise, and a lack of weapons. Darnold enters the league in 2018, faces Belichick twice a year and Sean McDermott, 2 of the top 5 defensive coaches. A year later, add Brian Flores, remains an excellent defensive mind. That's rough. Sam Darnold inherits that. Drake Maye gets Sean McDermott and Robert Saleh. Now, McDermott's a top 5, 6, 7 coach, but as a defensive coach, he's near the top of the league, and Saleh knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. Just give you a sense, both Darnold and Drake Maye are liked by people I trust, but they're not perfect. They're a little raw. They come in a little underdeveloped on the whiteboard, a little younger than you want. And Sam is now on his, 4th team? Jets, Carolina, San Francisco, and now Minnesota. And he finally gets his best situation. Now compare that to Bo Nix, who enters the league at 24 years old, 3 years older. than both Maye and Sam Darnold. Denver has an offensive coach, a brilliant one. Denver's good at left tackle. Wide receiver and running back, they have talent. Then Denver also drafts Troy Franklin. Bo Nix's great college receiver had 14 touchdowns alone for Oregon last year, over 100 yards per game for Oregon last year. So think of all those advantages. And in that division that Bo Nix inherits, it's not defensive coaches. There's one rookie defensive coach, Antonio Pierce, but it's Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh. Situationally, Drake Maye and Sam Darnold, little too young defensive coach, shaky O-line weapons, weaker college conferences, didn't have a great, brilliant offensive coach. It's rough. I think it's going to be rough for Drake Maye. To me, of all of these quarterbacks, he's the one that could struggle. I like Darnold a lot, and I'm not saying he would have ever been great. There was about 6 starts in Carolina. Then there was the 2019 year with the Jets, year 2, where he had an 85 passer rating, 21 total touchdowns, only 13 interceptions. That's always been the bugaboo for Sam Darnold. And Darnold also loses out on the optics because Tom Brady had over 200 interceptions in his career. I think it's 220 or 212. But very few were awful. Very few are memorable, right? That last one in New England against Tennessee sticks in my head, one of the Super Bowl interceptions. Same with Aaron Rodgers. Not that many terrible interceptions. Sam Darnold's picks, at least one a Sunday, all look awful. All look awful. So I don't think Drake Maye is as talented as Caleb Williams, but I think he's bigger, stronger, and moves just as well as Bo Nix. But the situation for Bo Nix and eventually a J.J. McCarthy are just much better than they were for Darnold or Drake Maye. I think the Vikings are one of the more fascinating teams in the league. Last year, when everybody was saying, hey, Rams are in a rebuild, I said, timeout. It's a coach, quarterback, weapons, left tackle league, if you can generate some pass rush. And so I said, the Rams are going to be a playoff team or battle for a playoff team. Minnesota, weapons, although Jordan Addison will be out probably for the first 3 to 4 weeks. Weapons, great left tackle, running back that can catch out of the backfield, smart offensive coach. It will all come down to Darnold because all the components are here as they were for the Rams last year, and Stafford got them to the playoffs. No, Darnold's not Matt Stafford. So this will be, I'll get my comeuppance on Sam Darnold because my takeaway is their schedule is tough early. But it is, when you were selling the Rams last year, I said, if it's a coach, quarterback, weapons, protection, pass rush league, the Rams have it. Actually, Minnesota does. The question is, can the trigger guy, Sam Darnold, pull it off? I've got my doubts. He's frankly just not accurate enough. His career completion percentage hovers around 59, 60%. If it was 63, I'd be fine. Now, I think he'll get to 63 to 63.5% with Kevin O'Connell. But with most quarterbacks that Kevin O'Connell will teach, mentor, and coach, they'll be in the 65 to 66%. And that's the difference with Darnold's guaranteed mistakes. He can be reckless. You gotta build him in. He just will not complete enough passes. But it is really built to win. Minnesota is built to be the surprise team in the NFC, like the Rams did last year. Smart offensive coach, protection's fine, couple of weapons, generate somewhat of a pass rush. It's all there for Minnesota, and it's all there for Sam Darnold. It would be nice if, I don't know, one time you guys would pull for somebody I like. I'm always here pulling for your team. Just one time. But it does show you situationally, Caleb, defensive coach in the hot seat, Jaden Daniels, defensive coach, Drake Maye, defensive coach. I think 2 of those 3 are going to be hits, but I would virtually guarantee it if Caleb was walking into this league with Kevin O'Connell or Jaden Daniels was walking into this league with Sean Payton. It does make it tougher. I mean, Belichick's the best coach of all time. Tom Brady has joked, even on his documentary, like Bill doesn't speak that language. I mean, you're watching the Steelers, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. You're watching them. I mean, how many first downs did Russell Wilson have in like 5 series? The Steelers can't get the offensive line right. Buffalo, for years, defensive coach, can't get the offensive line right. I mean, you start looking, Pete Carroll, to me, in the end, his personnel on the offensive line was better than production. Pete Carroll couldn't get the offensive line right last several years in Seattle. So all this stuff matters. It's like, there's a saying that parents use, set your kid up for success. If your kid has anxiety, don't put them in situations where there's a lot of anxiety. It's the same for quarterbacks. There's only been 4 or 5 quarterbacks in my life, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Andrew Luck. I think Trevor Lawrence to some degree, and Caleb Williams, I think, can overcome obstacles, bad coaching, cruddy GMs. Not saying they've all had it, but I think they're good enough to be productive beyond that. I think Kyler Murray was close to that level. But most guys aren't. They're just not. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Drake Maye. I don't think they're gifted enough to overcome bad bosses.